All right, so now we're going to talk about the Triassic period, which followed the Permian extinction. Uh, the earlier periods were considered the age of the fish and the age of the amphibians. So now we're going to be talking about the age of the reptiles, the age of the dinosaurs. And you can see, if you will run your animation up to roughly 225 million years ago, you can see that Pangea is completely assembled and that reptiles and conifers are dominating the land. So the amphibians are now very small and do not pose much of a threat to the reptiles. The first mammals make their appearance. Now, the first mammals were about this big, so about the size of a mouse. And then also the first dinosaurs make their appearance. The climate is cooling down and is drying out. Okay, now we're going to go into the Jurassic period, which is between 200 and 145 million years ago. So go ahead and advance the animation up to around 170 million years ago. And now notice that Pangea is beginning to break apart. And also the Rocky Mountains in North America are beginning to form. So we said that when plates are pulled apart, that makes new ocean floor. And then when plates go together, it's possible for one plate to go underneath another plate, and when that happens, that's called subduction, and it forms volcanic mountains. So that's what the Rocky Mountains on the western coast of the United States are. Okay, and then you have your first birds. So that's a major breakthrough. The first birds make their appearance during this time period. Also notice that in the oceans, things are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and on the land, things are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So dinosaurs are growing larger in size. Now we're going to go to the Cretaceous period, which is between 145 million to 65 million years ago. You can see that Pangea is continuing to break apart. We have the first flowering plants, the first ants, and the first bees. So what advantage does a flowering plant have over something like a conifer? Okay, think about, how does a conifer reproduce? Okay, those pine cones are going to open up, and then the seeds are going to be dispersed by the wind. On the other hand, how does a flowering plant do it? So in the case of a flowering plant, maybe a bee comes along and it gets some of the nectar from the flower, and then some of the pollen sticks to the bee. The bee goes somewhere else, lands on another flower, and accidentally deposits some of that pollen and fertilizes the other plant. So better methods of reproduction. In the case of let's say that you have a dinosaur that likes to eat apples. So the seeds are inside of an apple and it's covered with the fruit. The dinosaur eats the apple. The seeds go through the digestive system, and the dinosaur poops out the seeds somewhere else, and then the seeds can grow into a new plant somewhere else. So better methods of reproduction. And notice that this is really the height of the dinosaurs. So during the Cretaceous period, this is when the dinosaurs are at the height of their power. Also, they are the largest during this time period. But 65 million years ago, there was another mass extinction. And so this mass extinction was caused by an asteroid that was about 10 kilometers in diameter. So if you live here in Springfield, Missouri, that is about the size of our city. And it was coming in at something like 7 kilometers per second. And so when one end of this asteroid hit the Earth, the other end of the asteroid was up where airliners fly, 30,000 feet in the air. And so this caused a colossal explosion, which produced a huge amount of dust going into the atmosphere. The atmosphere got so dusty that it blocked out the sun for several months, if not a year. And then without sunlight, plants died. And then without the plants, the animals that ate the plants died. So this was the downfall of the dinosaurs, because they were so big that meant that they ate a lot of food. On the other hand, mammals were very small. And another thing about a mammal is they can hibernate. So that they were underground, they could hibernate, they could live for longer periods of time without eating, and when they did eat, they would not eat as much, and so the mammals were able to survive this mass extinction. So in case you're wondering, where did the asteroid hit? It hit off the Yucatan Peninsula, which is off the coast of Mexico. And if you look for that crater today, you're not going to see anything. But when you probe the ground using radar, you will see rings. And then those rings are the crater that was made by this thing when it hit. All right, we're going to take another break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about the last periods in Earth's history and the rise of the mammals.